Hello, here I am again on Transformation Tuesday. This is where I've been asked to share out of my own transformation journey. And today I want to talk about substitute idols. Yes, substitute idols. I just realized this, I think last week, going on in my own life, and it's actually embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. Yeah. But let me just talk about idols and substitute idols for a minute, and then I'll fill you in. Oh, idols, as you know, are things, objects, items, people, activities, events, anything that really grabs our attention and pulls us away from those things that God would actually have us doing. No, I'm not talking about God in directing our purpose, although that's part of it. But I mean the basics of life as a believer in Jesus that we're supposed to be taking care of. Yeah, going to church. And now that masks and all of that, social distancing and everything have really backed off, are you back voting with your feet that God is worth your time for worship? He says not to forsake the gathering together of the brethren. I think that's in Hebrews. And then devotions. Are you setting aside enough time in your day to actually be in the Word? It might not be a direct Bible study. It could be a devotional book that really helps you, maybe the first of the day or the closing of the day, to bring your thoughts, to take them captive and bring them to God. Or, any number of other practices that we're supposed to be keeping in mind. Avoiding gossip. Think about these things. Making sure we get to work on time. If there are other things that are distracting us from those basics of the faith, they're actually idols. They're idols because the basics of the faith, if you'll allow me to use that term, actually draw us toward God. They are things that activities, thought processes, mindsets that really draw us closer to Him and inspire worship. One of them, which I just talked about earlier today, has to do with rushing around, getting all things done. The to-do list is so long that we lose track of the fact that really one of our responsibilities is to have a peaceful, calm place inside us, a sanctuary for Holy Spirit. And all of that stuff works directly against that criteria, that goal, right? Don't you know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit? Temple, sanctuary, that's it. So what are we doing to keep our bodies calm? Now, this is something I've talked with my clients about for a long time, and I have worked on it myself. I've made some really good progress there. And yet I recognized recently that the calming down of my nervous system and so on, I realized that some of the activities that I've allowed into my life have started taking over again. And that's really an excellent measure for me. I'm jangled up again. What's going on? And I thought, well, I've committed to this, and I've committed to that, and I've committed to this other thing. And it could be, and I just realized this morning, it can include relationships too. When a friend or a relative, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and someone you're engaged to or married to, when they take us away regularly and consistently from the basics of the faith, that by accident or maybe intent, suddenly there's not enough time on Wednesday night to go to Bible study. Suddenly there's not enough time for an activity or some other relationship or maybe even your job, that you just don't have the energy to be able to be in the Word. And you fall into bed exhausted at night. You jump up and rush out in the morning, and neither time is there, or lunch, or is there any opportunity to focus mind, body, and spirit on who God is and our relationship with Him. Those are all idols. Those are all idols. And this is really the point of today. Maybe you already know about all that stuff about idols. It's not just little wooden things that are in the corner. Oh, I don't have any of those. I don't have any idols. Or a lucky rabbit foot. I used to have one of those when I was a kid. I had it on a little chain around the belt loop on my pants. And any number of things that somehow or other we've determined, and it could even be this, anytime the doors are open at the church, I'm there and I contribute in this way and that way and the other way. And that even though it's hidden underneath, there's an idea that I've got all these good deeds, so that puts me in a good place with God. It doesn't. It doesn't. And the substitute part is, and this is what caught me, is that we give up maybe one of those, we recognize it and we give it up, and then we bring another idol in its place because, it's hard to confess this, to say it, but if it's me, I'm sure it's other women. Somehow or other, we've created a spot in our life, a habit, where something or someone on the horizontal plane in this life needs to take up that spot where the idol was before. And I have to tell you, I've seen this in friends, but also in my clients, and in women that just draw from my materials and come in. Well, it doesn't work. If we decide that, let's see, the idol is I just overly grocery shop every week because I just want to have enough food in my refrigerator, and maybe I'm intent on feeding my family no matter what they want at any time. And that's where I think I'm serving my family well. And then we realize we're way over budget. That's not working. And oh yes, I have made that into an idol. There are other things that are more important. And then we turn our focus to something else, like, I need to make sure that everybody's involved in a meaningful activity. And pretty soon we're driving here and there and filling our day with that kind of activity. Now, if you caught something while I've been speaking, let me just encourage you to take this whole topic before the Lord. If you've recognized something that really is distracting you, time, energy, focus, finances, your talents, whatever it is, are all being spent in a very high priority that's not appropriate. Now look, we all have short-term things where suddenly there's a health crisis, or there's a specific need that has a period of time that just delays us, but we're still actually, it's calling us to draw closer to God. That's a completely different thing. But if it's disrupting, there are things that we've chosen to put in our lives that are disrupting the basics of the faith that we need to be pursuing, it's an idol. And we tend to substitute one for another until we recognize what the real issue is, the true issue is. Again, it's my responsibility. Nobody else can do it for me, to maintain a sanctuary attitude on the inside. My mind, my body, and my spirit. so that Holy Spirit is comfortable, because he's the one that's leading and guiding, comforting, consoling, convicting, challenging. Yes, all those things. And I want him operating optimum speed, if I could say it that way. Broken down analogy there a little bit. Nothing hinders Holy Spirit. But I want to hear sooner. I want to respond more quickly, more fully. So, and that means time with God and all those things that I mentioned, the basics of the faith. And whatever else works for you. Maybe music. Maybe it's music that really helps you reconnect on the mind, body, spirit level, balance with God. All right. Oh, I admit it. I've already done it. I was just going to say, oh, I didn't make my confession. I have been doing that. I substituted a hole in the terms of a friendship relationship a few months ago. And I realized why. And I have substituted that with another activity that fills my time, that allows me to give and receive in a deep way that I meant for the relationship to, but it didn't. And so I put another activity in there, and it's not meeting it either. And that's because that space is for God and God alone. So I have a criteria of what I'm pursuing to get back where I belong. If you want to know, you'll have to ask me. I'm short on time now. This is Sandra Allen Lovelace. I am a trauma-informed transformation coach. I do one-on-one coaching. I also do group coaching. You can see my materials over at YouTube. I have a playlist specifically for Transformation Tuesdays. If you like hearing my stories, I was requested to share these. But I also have other videos on transformation series 1, 2, and 3, and trauma as well. So I'm gonna step off now, but remember to keep your eyes open for idols in general, but in particular, substitute idols. Those actually are more of an indicator of deeper change that we need to make. God bless.